Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is amazing. I hope you had a great weekend. I certainly did. For those of you who are not aware, Friday's episode was pre-recorded because I was not in town. We had some stuff to do near where M's parents live, which is kind of like the Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia border, um, in the northern part of the state. We had stuff to do up there Friday and Saturday. And then we also had two concerts planned this weekend, one in Columbus and one in Pittsburgh. And so where we were at was kind of centrally located for those two shows, and it was a blast. So on tour right now is Flogging Molly with the Interrupters. For those of you who aren't aware, Flogging Molly is the band that hosts the cruise that I went on in March. And I have been seeing them. This July will make 20 years. I first saw them in 2002. So 20 years I've been following this band and seeing them on tour. And I've tried to see them every single year they've come around, right? At least once, sometimes more than once, and that was this trip. We had planned to go to Columbus, watch that show. We bought VIP tickets for that show, so we got extra swag and stuff like that, which we're planning on. I have to get to work, but we're planning on making a little, like a music wall where we can show all of our swag and stuff. So we went to the Columbus show. Opening for them, I had never heard of the Interrupters, first of all. I also hadn't heard of the two openers, the Skints or Tiger Army. Never heard of any of these bands. The Skints are kind of a ska reggae band from London. Really enjoyed their show. Really, really, really good. Tiger Army apparently has been around for a very long time. I just never heard of them. And to be honest, their Columbus show was just kind of, I didn't get it. Like, you know? And then the Interrupters came out. I literally only listened to the Interrupters on the car ride up. Like, I had never heard of them before. Loved it. Had a blast. They're ska, punk, just super fun. And their show was amazing. And they have a female vocalist, which both the Skins and the Interrupters do. And I'm a sucker for female vocalists, but the Interrupters' female vocalist was especially awesome because she has a huge range. She has like a very baritone voice that can also hit highs and just a really good sound. So I had a blast, and then of course, so we stayed back. We got to hang out with some people, made some new friends, stayed back, and then when Flogging Molly came out, we got up front row, just like we were on the boat, and got to talk to Dennis, got a Guinness from Dennis, the guitarist, and got to hang out with him for a little bit after the show. And then it was Sunday. And about a half an hour before the doors opened on Sunday, we found out that Dave King, the lead singer of Flogging Molly, tested positive, so they had to cancel. But the show went on. We could have refunded our tickets, but we were already in it at that point and decided to just go for it. So we got to see the three opening bands. Well, Interrupters were a dual headliner, so we got to see the Skints and Tiger Army and Interrupters again last night, and had a blast. And in fact, I said, the Tiger Army didn't grip me at Columbus. They sounded so much better in Pittsburgh. It's really interesting. Both venues, these are like two sister venues. There's Kemba Live in Columbus and Stage AE in Pittsburgh. They're indoor-outdoor venues with a rotating stage, basically. But because of the thunderstorm and because they canceled the Flogging Molly show and lots of people were refunding their tickets, they moved that show indoors, the Pittsburgh show indoors last night. And Tiger Army sounded so much better in that venue than they did in Columbus. They just didn't sound, they sounded muddled and weird in Columbus. I wasn't into it. But last night I was much more, I was like, okay, I get it now. So we didn't get to see Flogging Molly at all last night. I got to talk to Nate, the bassist, a little bit, but nobody else came around. So sad, because we were supposed to talk to Dennis again. He told us at the Columbus show that he wanted a wedding invite. We're getting married next year. He asked if we got married yet. Like, no, dude, next year. And he's like, well, he's like, I expect a wedding invitation. And we're like, cool. Where do I send it? And he's like, we'll talk tomorrow. Meaning, we'll talk in Pittsburgh. And then I didn't get to talk to him. So I have. If anybody knows Dennis Casey from Flogging Molly and can get me in contact with him, please do so, or at least send him a message saying I'm looking for him because I want to send him a wedding invite. He asked for it. I'm not being a weird, creepy fan. Or maybe I am. I don't know. Anyway, it was an amazing time. I really enjoy live music, and I really, really missed it during COVID. And it's one of those things I don't, I used to not get to do it very often. I used to maybe afford one or two shows a year. I'd see Pearl Jam if they came around. I'd see Flogging Molly always when they came around. And maybe I would go to Morgantown to see a band. We have like a little 123 Pleasant Street, which is one of those tiny 100-person venue kind of things. But I always forget how much I love live music until I go do it. And it's like, God, why don't I do this more often, right? I can do that now. So, amazing time. And for today's, that's not the correct app. For today's Questions with Chris, or whatever we're calling this segment, you guys haven't figured that out yet. Not that it's on you. He asked about music, so let's hear what Chris has to say today.
Hey friends, good morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Today's question of the day, let's talk about music. You've been talking about techno, punk, pop, disco. Not quite sure what you're referring to because I'm an old man. And you also mentioned Flogging Molly, whatever a Flogging Molly is. So my question today is, what's your favorite style of music? And then part two, bonus question, what group or artist would surprise the rest of us that you listen to and like? Thanks.
Okay, so let's see. Favorite music style. I guess you could say just grunge rock or punk rock or alternative music would be, 90s alternative. That sort of stuff has always been my absolute favorite. I think that bands like, Pearl Jam is probably still my favorite band ever, even though I put a lot more energy into seeing Flogging Molly than I do Pearl Jam. I think it's just because I grew up with Pearl Jam. They're huge for me, but there's also a lot of weird stuff. I guess it's not super weird. Like Cake, for instance. I absolutely love Cake. One of my all-time favorites. Decemberists. I really enjoy them. I also, I like Dave Matthews. I like the techno stuff you're talking about. Louis the Child is one of my absolute favorite new electronic artists. I do really enjoy electronic music. I've always been into a genre of music that was called trip hop. And I don't know if there's a lot of trip hop around anymore, but Tricky / Massive Attack, kind of the same thing, were two of my favorites groups from the early 2000s. Sneaker Pimps, an old band called I just forgot what they're called. No, the Low Fidelity All Stars or fit in that category. I enjoy all things music. I don't listen to modern country very much. I don't necessarily hate it, but I don't identify with it. I like country western, like old western style country, and I love bluegrass, but I don't really necessarily get into to modern country. And I'm not completely up on hip hop and R&B, but I do love hip hop and R&B. I don't follow that genre closely, so it's when I find a new artist that I like from that genre, I latch onto them. So, I like a little bit of everything, but that alternative punk, rock, grunge, that stuff, that's my favorite. Always has been. I listen to all kinds of stuff from all over that genre. Let's see, a band that would surprise you. A group that would surprise you. Is that fine? I mean, a band, I would say Volbeat. Maybe go listen to Volbeat. They're like a Dutch sort of rockabilly, maybe swing rock, or I don't know what you would call them. I really enjoy that. I don't know if that's necessarily surprising based on my previous, examples. But I do have a surprising group that I don't think you've ever heard of, and I will put a link to my favorite song of theirs in the description. Nappy Roots. Nappy Roots is a country rap group from Kentucky. I love Nappy Roots. They're amazing. So there you go. Thanks for the question, Chris. Thanks for listening to me talk about music stuff, because I really enjoy it. If you have any questions for me, please put them in the comments. Or, like Chris, you can call the voicemail. Number is in the description. It's at the end of every video. You can call in too. We can have a whole call-in show. Why don't we do that? Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is milieu. It is a noun meaning surroundings, especially surroundings of social or cultural nature. Poetry readings and coffee shops are not Andrew's milieu of choice. Milieu. M-I-L-I-E-U. I used to be a poet. I thought I was. I wrote a lot of poetry, and I spent time in weird little lofty poetry slams back in the day. Enjoyed that.